And welcome back, everyone. This is Mate Sipper coming to you on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Tuesday the 2nd, that is. See what the weather's going to be doing today. Or tomorrow, I mean. Hot and sunny. Alrighty. Another hot one coming in. Yeah, as you could see, we had a really busy day yesterday of planting our crops, so without further ado, I will cut away and be back to you as soon as I get our crops watered. See you in a bit. And welcome back, everyone. I watered all of our crops and noticed that we had a crow eat one of our things. So I think it's just barely out of range. But we don't have enough wood, so I'm gonna head out and do some forestry today. I have to start removing some trees. We're really running low on wood. Which is, it's okay. It's one of those things that you just always have to get more of it. And you don't really notice that you're almost out of wood until all of a sudden you're out. So yeah, today is gonna be a timber day. Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to get a level of foraging out of it. It will also kind of give us a little bit of time to run around the map and pick up any forageables that there might be. Which will be kind of nice. After all, with it being the new season, there will be some new goodies spread around that we'll be able to have the opportunity to kind of pick up. But yeah. So I hope everyone's doing well. I hope your week is going well. It's been cool. Oops. It's been cooling off here, so can't complain too much. Might rain today, which will be kind of nice. Everything else is can't really complain about, you know? But yeah, just living life. Been playing a little bit of Stardew Valley, been playing some Assassin's Creed. Had some accounting I've had to do. Have a thing I have to file with the Utah state government. Which is kind of silly because we don't live in Utah anymore, but whatever. Deal with bureaucracy as it comes, I guess. Ooh. So, we got some mixed flower seeds there. So what the mixed flower seeds do is just like wild seeds, they randomly will grow a flower of the season. So I'm not sure if I remember too well what the flowers are for summer, but I believe it's summer spangle and poppy. So with that being the case, we can grow some flowers. The summer spangle Carolyn loves. The poppy Penny loves, and she's the only one who loves the poppy. Don't give the poppy to anyone else. Everyone else either hates it or dislikes it, which is kind of interesting, but I think that has to do with the fact that poppies, they're not really that pretty of a flower. I mean, in my opinion, I guess, is the best way to put it. And they also don't have a scent, which a lot of people don't realize. Because, when you have a flower, you kind of want it to smell like something. And that kind of gets into something really interesting with botany of plants. So roses. A lot of people don't realize that roses are in the same family as apples. And so what that means is not only does that mean that roses are somewhat edible. Now, I'm not saying that you should eat a rose. But it also means that they can look very odd, depending on how you, kind of like how you breed them, I guess, because it's not called husbandry for plants. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like generational selection. And so what you can do with it, and what roses have kind of become, is you can choose whether you want a flower to smell more or if you want it to look better. And so, if you buy a flower from the store, you'll actually notice that the scent is a very certain smell. And the reason why is because of not genetic engineering, but genetic planning, I guess. Which, I'm going to call it genetic planning because it is genetic engineering. It's just people don't like that term here in the US. Because when they think of genetically engineered, they think GMO food, which, I mean, I hate to burst your bubble, but anything that you eat anymore has been modified to some degree. Just because we as humans like life to be as easy as possible for us. And so what that does is, like meat, for instance, a lot of people don't realize this, but we selectively breed our cattle. And so in order for a cow to not be genetically modified, you kind of have to go back in time anymore to find an animal that hasn't been selectively bred. Which isn't really possible, just because of how long it's been going on, to the point that the cows we have today are so dissimilar from the cows that we used to have, like hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And the same is true for plants. And so with plants, the genetic engineering is very odd, as I said. Because what you have to do is you actually have to alter the grandparent of the plant. So when it comes to plants, the seed is a child, and the plant that comes out of the seed is actually a separate child of the plant. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so this pine tree, for instance, if this was real life that I'm whacking at, is a parent. Those pine cones are their child, and then if I plant the pine cones, what comes out of the ground next would actually be the grandchild of the tree. And the reason why it's like that is because plants are weird, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, they're exceptionally strange. And because of that, when you genetically modify plants, it takes a few extra generations. And for those of you who, I guess, want to breed plants or, like grow certain strains of plants, it takes a lot of foresight and a lot of planning to figure out kind of what you want in a plant. So the utility, I guess, of what I'm speaking of and how I am aware of it is because of my understanding of the Carolina Reaper. So the Carolina Reaper is a very, 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 very hot pepper. And it was created here in the United States. I can't remember what state. I want to say that it was probably created in one of the Carolinas, but I could be wrong. And I mean, the reason why I assume it was created in one of the Carolinas is because the Grim Reaper is not generally portrayed as being a Carolyn, which is what the English form of Carolina would be. It's usually portrayed as the skeleton, and usually a male. If at all gender specific, I don't think that there's ever been a female adaptation of Grim Reaper in folklore. I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, please let me know, because I'd like to see... Well, I just like to see kind of like the culture around the world. It's very interesting to see all the different adaptations of things, such as death. Because death is one of those things that's just like... It's present in all cultures to some degree, but it's always different, I guess, is the best way to put it. And so it's interesting to kind of see like how different cultures portray death. Oops, I put those in the wrong spot. I meant to put you in here. And you. Alright. But back to what I was saying about plants. So plants are really odd in kind of how they spread. And as I said, it leads to some very interesting pollination techniques, I guess is the best way to put it, to get what you want out of the plant. And so for the Carolina Reaper, I don't remember what generation it was, but it was like 10th or 11th, I think. It could have been as far as the 15th or the 50th. But the reason why is because in order to actually get the plant a seed-bearing fruit, it would be the child of the other plant. So it leads to some kind of odd things with kind of like how plants work, I guess is the best way to put it. But it's a really interesting field to study because as humans, as I said, we do our best to make crops as profitable as possible for us. And that is to say, not necessarily profitable in the form of money, but in the form of time. So tomato plants are of the nightshade family. And we have genetically modified them in a way that they produce even more tomatoes per vine that grows. And we've done that because it saves time. Or we genetically modify the crop in a way that it tastes different. And so that's how you get different forms of tomatoes. Everything from hydros to, which hydros are very GMO and not at all organic. Or hydroponic tomatoes, I think is what they're more colloquially known as, but they're just really fat tomatoes. And, just different variations to it. Or if you like the way that certain tomatoes taste, you can selectively pollinate them with other tomatoes of a similar taste. And so the same is true for roses. So you get roses that smell very, very powerful, but they're probably not going to look like another rose. And the reason why is because when plants decide to work into one trait that makes them successful because humans are selectively breeding them, then they lose other traits. Basically, there's no such thing as 100% efficiency in biology, and everything has some inefficiency. So a common one that people use is, well, jellyfish, they pretty much live forever. Not true. Like, yeah, they're probably not going to die of age. However, they have become a target of turtles. Turtles find them very tasty. Now, I'm not saying that the jellyfish kind of, bred in a way that would make themselves become more tasty. But it's more in fact that the turtles became aware that there was a food shortage. And so in order to deal with a food shortage, they gained the ability to eat jellyfish. And so you get all these interesting things with different crops. And then here in Nebraska, we grow corn. Well, corn is kind of a stupid plant. And I say that because it actually requires man to propagate. It's gotten to the point that corn doesn't actually self-propagate anymore. Because if you look at it, it has to be husked and spread. And on top of that, it's become either sweet or hard depending on the crop. But anyway, so that's just kind of an aside about crops and animal husbandry, in my opinion, about GMOs, which I don't know if anyone really cares about, but it is interesting to consider, and it's just kind of a different perspective on the world. But yeah, this has been Mate Sipper, finishing off day 2 of summer, and wishing you all a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching. There was an earthquake during the night, but thank you for watching. Bye.